Good evening. Good evening. Yeah, I might go out to have Charlie. Charlie said he's not feeling real good, so I don't think I can do it, Charlie. You want me to try? Yeah. Woo! Something like that. Not too good. Hey, the Air Force is never going to be a Marine, right? No way. So.
The Marines don't get anywhere without the Navy.
Well, it is so good to see everyone out tonight. A good crowd tonight for Sunday night. As we continue with our Baptist Men's Day, huh? No. But it is so good to have you. We're Baptist Men's Day today. And we're going to continue with that tonight. Get some special music for it, I'm sure, that Kevin's got for us as we worship the Lord in music. And then we got MacKenzie and Lee tonight. It's going to be speaking. So I know that God just be praying for them. I know God will just speak to us through them tonight. Just in ways of announcements, don't forget you do have choir practice tonight, Kevin?
Yes, we have new music.
And new music. So you want to come out for that. And then on Wednesday night, EBC Kids Club, and of course student ministry, winter Bible study. Philip began last week in 1 Peter, just done a wonderful job. And so Adam Green is going to be talking this Wednesday night. So you don't want to miss that. And he's got all the way from 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 13 to chapter 2, verse 12. That's a lot to cover. So if you get a chance to read that, and that way you kind of know what he's going to be talking about on Wednesday night. And then be praying for our youth. They'll be leaving for the Resurrection Conference at 10:30 on Friday. And so keep them in prayer that they'll just have a really good conference and just for God's protection there. Okay? And then next week, we normally have fellowship dinner on Sunday morning. But since we had Baptist Men's Day this week and breakfast, we thought we would do just soup and chili next Sunday night at 5 o'clock. Okay, that's why it's kind of been switched, okay? Okay, and then, where's Harry at?
Here.
Oh, Harry, and I guess Andrew's gonna be here next week too, ain't he?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so Sunday night, I get to preach Sunday morning, that's good. But Sunday night, Andrew Ward's gonna be here, just talking about their ministry and all. Missionaries to Toto, right? Got it? So excited about that, okay? That's all now. Any other announcements? Okay, nothing else, Kevin? Just lead us.
All right. Well, hey, I've been here for a little while, almost too long. Pastor Kevin asked me if I could lead a few songs tonight, and so I'm bringing a couple songs from California here. And you remember Isaiah being caught up in heaven? You know, he doesn't know if it was a dream or a vision or something. But in Isaiah, he was found in the throne room of God, and there was fire and incense and smoke and angels in the corners, cherub angels. And they were crying out, holy, holy, holy. And when he realized where he was, he's going, oh my gosh. He fell down to his knees and said, I'm a man of unclean, prostrated himself. I'm a man of unclean lips. And the cherub flew and took a coal from the fire and touched his lips, and he became clean. And he said, here am I. And here I am, Father God, here to worship you. And so the first part of this time is entering in. When Christ died on the cross, the veil was torn in two, and we now can boldly come into the inner room, into the Holy of Holies. But I come with humility and a quiet confidence. And then we come into a time of proclamation, and then we come into a time of testimony. And that's what these three songs kind of help us to do. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Sing that again. Open the eyes of my heart. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. I want to see you. To see you high and lifted up. To see you high and lifted up. Shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. Go back to the top. Open the eyes. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. I want to see you. To see you high. To see you high and lifted up. Shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. We cry, holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. I want to see you. Sing that again. We cry, holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. We cry, holy, holy, holy. I want to see you high, to see you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. I want to see you. Sing that again. We cry, holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. We cry, holy, holy, holy. I want And now we find ourselves there and getting a little more emboldened. We realize that God is right in front of us and we're going to just worship Him. Blessing and honor, glory and power be unto the Ancient of Days. From every nation, all of creation, bow before the Ancient of Days. Sing that again. Blessing and honor. Blessing and honor, glory and power be unto the Ancient of Days. From every nation, all of creation, bow before the Ancient of Days. Every tongue now, every tongue in heaven and earth shall declare your glory. Every knee shall bow at your throne. In worship you will be exalted, O God, and your kingdom shall not pass away, O Ancient of Days. Sing blessing and honor. Blessing and honor, glory and power be unto the Ancient of Days. From every nation, all of creation, bow before the Ancient of Days. Every tongue now, every tongue in heaven and earth shall declare your glory. Every knee shall bow at your throne. In worship you be exalted, O God, and your kingdom shall not pass away, O Ancient of Days. Your kingdom shall reign, your kingdom shall reign over all the earth. Singing to the Ancient of Days, for none can compare to your matchless worth. Singing to the Ancient of Days. Your kingdom shall reign over all the earth. Singing to the Ancient of Days, for none can compare to your matchless worth. Oh, singing to the Ancient of Days. Every tongue in heaven and earth shall declare your glory. Every knee shall bow at your throne. In worship you be exalted, O God, and your kingdom shall not pass away, O Ancient of Days. O Ancient of Days. O Ancient of Days. I know not why God's wondrous grace to me He hath made known, nor why unworthy Christ in love relieved me for it. Let's testify to each other. And I know whom I have believed, and am persuaded that He is able to keep that which I've committed unto Him against that day. Verse 2. I know not how this saving faith to me He did make part, nor how believing in His word brought peace within my heart. And I know whom I have believed, and am persuaded that He is able to keep that which I've committed unto Him against that day. Verse 5, I know not when. I know not when my Lord may come, at night or noonday rest, nor if I walk in the vale with Him, or meet Him in the air. And I know whom I persuaded that he is able to keep that which I've committed unto him against that day. Amen. How many of you know you are eternal and your salvation is eternal? I am safe. I am secure in my salvation because he holds me right there. I think we have a testimony.
This time, MacKenzie's going to come forward and share with us this evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Just want to say that out of the year that we've probably been here, this is probably the most people that's been here on Sunday night. So that is just my luck. Yeah, no pressure. No, it's fine. That's fine because hopefully, you know, something I say tonight or something that goes on in the music talks to somebody and speaks to their heart. And it's funny because I got two Charlies in my phone, and one Charlie always talks to me about basketball and sports and stuff like that. And the other Charlie, which is Charlie York, which I don't know where he went. Oh, there he is back there. So I looked at my phone and it started, "Hey, brother, I was wondering." I thought, dang it, I know he wants something. So Charlie asked me if I wouldn't mind to get up here and speak. Of course, I didn't mind to one bit. But my name's MacKenzie Whitacker. We've been coming here, I guess, over a year now. And we moved from Pikeville, so we made the big move. We was wanting a life-changing experience, so 20 minutes south that done it for us. But no, we was like I said, we really was wanting to move somewhere, and we thought Chattanooga's too many people for us, so Dunlap's just perfect for us. So we moved here about a year ago, and when we come here, we was talking about, you know, do we still want to keep going to church in Pikeville, or do we want to try to find something here? So we started looking around, and you all are stuck with us now, so sorry. Amen. But no, we're really glad to be here, and you know, for me to give my testimony before was no big deal because, you know, I went to the same church for 16 years, so everybody heard it. So you all get to hear the long version of it. I know I got 10 minutes, but I'll probably go over it. But some of y'all know, and some of you don't. I'm a preacher's son, and very thankful and very blessed to be raised in a godly home and to have Christian parents. And at that time, you know, you take a lot of things for granted and stuff like that, but once you get older and you start thinking about things and how you was raised and stuff like that, you're really, really thankful to be in a Christian household. So I got saved when I was in 6th grade. It was the first year I got to go to World Changers. We went to Chicago that year, and I just remember the pastor up there talking, and just like everybody else, you get up there and you grab a hold of a chair or whatever, and you grip it as hard as you can, and you think, boy, something's going to drag me down this aisle, and before you know it, you're down there and everything. So I got back to Pikeville and, of course, talked to Dad and stuff like that, and, you know, accepted the Lord when I was in 6th grade. I don't remember the date and stuff like that. I can't even remember what I did last week, but I remember I was in 6th grade. So that's good enough for the Lord. Being a preacher's kid, that thing is messing up. Being a preacher's kid, you have a different standard, I think. You know, when somebody messes up, it's no big deal. And when you're a preacher's kid and you mess up, well, they're just pointing at you and letting everybody know that, hey, look at MacKenzie, he messed up. But the good thing about it is none of us are perfect. Everybody makes mistakes every day. And, you know, we all stumble. And the only person that we really, truly got to worry about pleasing is God. You know, when it all boils down to it, we're all going to be standing up there, and he's going to be looking at me and saying, hey, look here, look here, look here. And that's really the only person that I really, truly have to serve and worry about, and to make sure that he is the most important thing in your life whatsoever you do. So pretty much during that, you have your middle school and your high school years. luckily, after you get out of high school and you're 18 years old, you have life figured out. You don't have to worry about anything anymore. Whatever plan you got going on, I promise you it will not work. So, you think back to that time. I know probably BW, you probably can't even think back to when you was 18. It's old. But I had to throw in one somewhere. He's been on me all day. So, when I turned 18, I had everything planned. I had what I needed to do. And the sad thing was, God wasn't a part of any of it. And I really, really strayed from what I knew. I knew better what I was supposed to do. And for me, for some reason, just pure ignorance out of my part. I done the partying and I done everything. And, like I said, you all get the long version. So, I started drinking. And to me, that was the most important thing of my life at that time. And the funny thing about it is that, God will smack you down and he will hit you to the ground. And it doesn't matter. Everybody's story is different. And for me, God, I ended up getting arrested. So God really, really put the hurting on me. And like I said, and the thing is that we all know better. And we know better to sin, and we know better to do these things. And like I said, out of my pure ignorance, I kept doing it and kept doing it. And God really, really put the smack down on me and ended up getting arrested. And even after that, I was still crazy enough to get out and do the exact same junk again. But luckily for me, after all my so-called friends and the ones that I thought would be there for me, you turn around and look, and man, there ain't one of them around. But there's always one person that will never, ever leave you, no matter what. And we don't deserve any of that. We don't deserve what he done for us to send his son for me. Why me? I don't deserve anything that the Lord blesses me with. But the only reason why is because he loves me. And he sent his son for me, for you all. And the most important life decision that you can ever do is always have God first in your life and to make sure that he is a part of your life. Because at that time I think, what would I even be if he wasn't a part of my life? And where would I be now? And where would I be in the future? Man, I'm not worried about the future. The Lord's coming. As bad as this world is today, man, he's on his way, coming. And I will argue that point with anybody. You can't tell me the Lord's not coming. And the great thing is when he comes, man, I'm heading right there with him. And so I'm not too concerned about it. And the thing that we are concerned about is that lost friend that you have, or that lost family member that you have, or the man that you don't even speak to one day and you see him walking down the street and you think, boy, that guy's crazy. Might be, but does he go into heaven with you? And the thing that scares me now more than anything is that when we do get there, if we're standing there, I wonder if there'll be somebody in the corner going to hell saying, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you talk to me? Why didn't you give your testimony tonight? I was sitting there at Ewtonville, and I was sitting back here in the back, and man, I had so much stuff going on, and why didn't you say anything? So I didn't mind one bit to give my testimony. Like I said, we've been coming here about a year now, and we really enjoy everybody here. I know we haven't got to meet everybody and stuff like that, and we really appreciate everybody. And like I said, our Sunday school teacher could be a little better. No offense to you. Now, I like to hear Charlie talk, because Charlie's just cut and dry, man. What's right is right, what's wrong is wrong, and Brian sends up here and does the same thing. And I think the world we're falling away from that, and we're trying not to hurt anybody's feelings. But the truth is truth, and the Bible tells what everything is. And so, you know, that's all I got. And just continue to pray for me and Carrie. I know she's talked during the summer, and like she said, we're doing this adoption thing. So just continue to remember praying to us about that, and to see where, you know, God sends us. And we're glad to be here, and, you know, we're glad to help out any way possibly. If you need any help, just let us know, and we'll be glad to help out. So that's all I got.
I'm going to read a little bit from Psalm 4, verse 1, and then verse 6 through 8. It says, "Hear me when I call, O God of my righteousness. Thou hast enlarged me when I was in distress. Have mercy upon me and hear my prayer. There be many that say, who will show us any God or any good? Lord, lift thou up the light of thy countenance upon us. Thou hast put gladness in my heart more than in the time that their corn and their wine increased. I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety." McKenzie's right. God is in control. Nothing to worry about. He's in control of it all. Let's pray. Father God, we want to thank you for this day that you've given us, a chance for us to come together to worship you and to lift you up, Father. May you be pleased with what we say, with what we sing, with what's shared, Father. And we do just rest upon the fact that you love us, you know us, and you are sovereign, Father. You are above all, and we can rest in safety and sleep well, knowing that you are in charge. Amen. Let's all stand together. We're going to sing 10,000 Reasons. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship his holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul. Worship your holy name. The sun comes up, it's a new day dawning. It's time to sing your song again. Whatever may pass and whatever lies before me, let me be singing when the evening comes. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship his holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul. Worship your holy name. You're rich in love and you're slow to anger. Your name is great and your heart is kind. For all your goodness I will keep on singing. 10,000 reasons for my heart to find. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship his holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul. I worship your holy name. And on that day when my strength is failing, the end draws near and my time has come. Still my soul will sing your praise unending. 10,000 years and then forevermore. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship his holy name. like never before. Oh, my soul, I worship your holy name. I will worship your holy name. Lord, I'll worship your holy name. Amen. Go ahead and be seated. At this time, we're going to take up our offering for the evening. So, are young men doing that again? Not all young men. I see Raymond walking up here. And they're not quite as good looking as they were this morning either.
This is right out of the Psalms. May the Lord answer you in your time of trouble. May the Lord answer you in your troubles. May the God of Jacob lift you on high. May he recall your sacrifices and accept your offering. May he grant you all the desire of your heart. And we will shout for joy over your victory. And we'll lift up our banners in his name. May he recall your sacrifices and accept your offering. May he grant you the desire of your heart.
Psalm 20, right?
That was Psalm 20.
If he's right. That's almost word for word what Psalm 20 says. If you're encouraged by that, then let me encourage you to read that. Let that speak to you again. It's wonderful words of what God. It's a prayer you can pray to God that He would do all those things. So, Psalm number 20. We're going to sing before Lee comes up. We're going to sing the song "You Are My King." I'm forgiven because you were forsaken. I'm accepted, you were condemned. I'm alive and well, the Spirit is within me because you died and rose again. Amazing love, how can it be that you, my King, would die for me? Amazing love, I know it's true. It's my joy to honor you. I'm forgiven because you were forsaken. I'm accepted, you were condemned. I'm alive and well. Your spirit is within me because you died and rose again. Amazing love, how can it be that you, my King, would die for me? Amazing love, I know it's true. It's my joy to honor you in all I do. I honor you. You are my King. You are my King. Jesus, you are my King. Jesus, you are my King. Amen.
Well, I'm last. I have to tell you that it probably comes as a surprise to many of you, but I'm somewhat older than some of the others. And MacKenzie, if your long version took some significant time, you don't even want to think about my long version, just so you know. I mean, we talk about everybody here would have one of those life-changing experiences. We'd all be moving to Pikeville, just so you know. It's any way to get out of here. Well, I will tell you this. I'm not sure why. Charlie chose the ones to ask the ones that he did, but he did clearly ask those of us with somewhat of a different pilgrimage. I will tell you, however, as I've listened to the testimonies throughout the day, I've observed a couple of things, and that is that there are some similarities as well. There are some differences, but there are some similarities. We all began the same place. We were all lost. We were all lost and we were all found. And all of us, at some point after our salvation experience, came to points in our lives when there was some confusion. There was some issue that developed even after we became believers, and because of the fact that we had become believers, it was not as bad as it might have been. In other words, there was a recovery that was possible that would not have been possible, but for the fact that we were believers. And so we have that in common as well. And certainly, we also have in common the fact that God has proven. This is dispositive evidence that the Lord is determined to use imperfect vessels to get his work done. I mean, aren't you glad that he does? I mean, aren't you glad that he has decided that even though there are imperfect vessels among the Baptist men and among the Baptist women and above all of others as well, that the Lord has decided that he can use imperfect people to get his will done. And the others have all explained it to some extent how that has worked in their lives, and of course it's worked in mine as well. So here we go. I was lost. I was lost in part because I was born, because all of us were. And I will never forget, I mean, I was raised in a Christian family, and I don't know, it's possible that at some point during my early years that one of my siblings, I was the youngest of 7, that one of my siblings or my mama, wouldn't likely have been my father, but would have talked to me about the need for salvation. I don't recall that they did. They just don't. But I do recall the very first time at my church that I ever heard it. And this may speak volumes about the church where we were at the time. It was not a Baptist church, doesn't matter, but it was Church of the Brethren. But the very first time I ever heard anybody tell me that I was lost and that that was a problem of some kind and that it could be rectified. In other words, there was something I could do about that, something I needed to do about it. The very first time I heard it, I was sitting on the second or third pew. I wish I could remember which. The second or third pew. There were 2 aisles, just like this sanctuary here, preacher. And you know, it was halfway down there. I was 8 years old, minding my own business to the extent that any 8-year-old minds their own business in church. But I was saying, we had an evangelist, which is probably the reason that I heard it. But on that day, at that place, and at that time, I first heard that I was lost and that I needed a Savior. And I said, you know what? I have no idea how I got here without hearing that before, but now I'm going to do something about it. And I did that day. At the same time, of course, there have been occasions through the life, especially our lives, especially when someone turns out to get to the age that I have, when there are issues that develop, of course. And I will tell you that this is not one of those issues, but I was married early. My wife it was early for her as well. I was in middle school and she was in kindergarten. But we were both young when we were married. I do recall on one occasion that I was speaking to a group of people when I was 28 years old. I just happen to remember that. I was speaking to a group of people when I was 28, and I said that we have 5 kids. And I remember one of the women just blurted out. I mean, I can picture Brent. I can right. She just said, "You don't look old enough to have 5 kids." And I said, "You don't get old enough to have 5 kids." I mean, isn't anybody old enough to have 5 kids? No, that's not true. We were blessed with the children. You know, I really, I just have to tell you, there's just I mean, really don't have a time to tell you some of the foolish things that I've done over the years that the Lord kept it from getting worse than it was. My wife was talking, I hadn't thought about this for a long time, and there's a reason for that, I suppose, but my wife was talking on the phone this afternoon to one of our grandchildren, one of our youngest grandchildren, and she was telling about the fact that we bought an amusement park. Really. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being dumb, this was a 12.5. And we bought this amusement park. And I'm going to tell you, there have been disasters in the history of mankind, but none, in my view, none with my experience, that was any, managed to get past that. The Lord was good to us. So we survived, and, we're here. We were in Michigan at the time. My mother passed away. And so of the siblings, my father was here, strike that, he was in Florida. And we were the ones that it was easiest or best for us to move to be close to Pop. And so we did. We moved to Florida. That was a life-changing experience, MacKenzie, moving from Michigan to Florida. And so we were there, so we were, closer to my father. And during those years, it got a little better, it got a little easier. All of our kids were in Christian schools, and if you think about it, that's not a small expense. And they went to Christian colleges. And at some point, however, we were doing well. And the company where I worked in Sarasota was going to relocate to Dallas. We don't want to go. I mean, we don't want to go. I mean, my guess is most of you, if you thought about it, could figure out why. My father was still living, but not only that, we just didn't want to go to Dallas. And it was probably one of the most pivotal periods in our marriage and in my life was trying to decide what are we going to. I was in my mid-40s. Some of you could remember that. I'm sure BW may never have been 18, but he maybe can remember his mid-40s. But whatever the case, I was in my mid-40s, and we didn't want to go. I would never had the courage to quit because we were doing well, but we decided I'm just not going to go. We're not going to Florida. To Dallas. Excuse me. We're going to stay. And so I hadn't finished my undergraduate work, so I finished my undergraduate work and went to law school. And we felt like the Lord had that for us at that time. And you know what? At the time, I guess we weren't sure why, and to this day, I don't know if I can give you all the reasons why that it turned out that it was an appropriate thing or that was the right call. Although we're persuaded, we're then and we are now, that the Lord led us to do that, led me to go to law school. I will tell you that when I finished law school, I went to work at a firm in Orlando, which was what's called an insurance defense firm. And some of you maybe have some experience with those. You probably rather not, but you have insurance, and you have car insurance. You probably have home insurance, maybe renter's insurance, whatever that this church is insured or it needs to be. And so there's insurance, and when there's some kind of a claim against you, your insurance company retains a law firm to defend you. It's called insurance defense. And I went to work for one of those, a litigation firm, to defend the insured when people were sued or when there was a claim against them. One of the areas, there was a specialty area at this particular firm, and 3 different insurance companies which retained this firm were Brotherhood Mutual, Church Mutual, and Guide One. All of those insurance companies insure churches. It's possible our insurance company is one of those. If not, lots of them are. In fact, most of them are one of those 3. And those 3 insurance companies retained our firm to defend churches and Christian organizations that frankly there was a claim against, there was some kind of a suit against. Well, when I went to work for this firm, my CV or my resume, it literally screamed the fact that I was different than some other people. I mean, I was encouraged, I was counseled, do not put something on there indicating that you have some kind of a spiritual commitment because it will disqualify you from some firms. And you know what? Tricia and I talked about it and decided, I'm sorry. We're going to put that there right out in front so there's no question about it. So even though they had some questions about whether or not I should be hired, they certainly had no questions about who to assign those cases to. And I will tell you that you know, one of the blessings of my life was defending churches that were sued. Churches are sued. I defended a Lutheran church. I defended a Church of God on 2 occasions. Assemblies of God. There was an Assemblies of God a college in Central Florida, which I defended. I defended the Florida Baptist Convention, preacher. It was sued by a Lutheran woman. True story. Took that Lutheran woman out at the knees. So it was, but I'm going to tell you, there were Baptist churches sued. And at least three. I was involved in a couple others, but I'm going to tell you what now, I need you to know this. It's possible that I'll get to heaven someday and find out that there was one particular reason why, from a timing standpoint, and from an area of practice standpoint, that the Lord led us to do what I did. Incidentally, I said us. Now, if there's anything I've said so far that makes it seem as though that the Lord was speaking to me audibly, or that the Lord was giving me direction that was some kind of a special, had some kind of special connection or some kind of special communication, then I'm miscommunicating. My wife was a big part of every single thing that happened to us, including that silly amusement park in Michigan, incidentally. Although that was not her idea, frankly, it was mine. Whatever the case, she was part of this. And I will tell you this, I shared with some folks in our Sunday school class a couple of weeks ago, half teasing, but I think, you know what, I think the Lord must like me a lot. I'm on his good side because he gave me Tricia, really. He's not too happy with her, however, because look what she got stuck with. I'm not sure why the preacher's laughing about that. Brenda, you must be in trouble too. You know, you must be out. There you go. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Whatever the case, we were together. So one of the most significant cases I ever involved in was the church that we attended in Orlando. First Baptist Church, Central Florida. 1,800 in Sunday school. There were 3 Sunday morning services at 2 campuses. The preacher preached at 8 o'clock, at 9:30, and went back and preached at 11. 2,500 on a typical Sunday morning in those 3 services. And there became a situation. I really don't feel like it's edifying to go into some details, even though it's part of public record because there was a lawsuit. But if you just picture for a second with me, and you maybe get the guckiness of this whole thing, of some of the things that have been transpiring where there have been claims made recently against people. And this is what happened in this church. And it turns out that the 2 people who were employees of the church, one of them sued, and that person named the church as an additional party. In other words, the church was sued by one of its employees. And I had the opportunity to defend our church. And I have to tell you that, I'm sorry, I thank the Lord for the opportunity to have done something, in my view, that was as momentous as that was. The issue was resolved. Unfortunately, it didn't go to trial. It was resolved, but the church, who in my view then, in my view now, had no exposure whatsoever, was released from that without not one single dime was taken out of any part of the church's money to resolve that, and I thank the Lord for that opportunity. There have been some other occasions. There were some other occasions, of course, in a practice of law when I was able to I'm able to do some things that I'm sorry how this sounds, but there's only lawyers can do them. There's just only lawyers can accomplish some things, and so I think I'm just going to tell you, I thank the Lord for the time in our lives when we struggled what to do, and felt like the Lord led us to do that. After I practiced law for 7 years, I had an opportunity to go back and teach at this school, the law school where I had gone as a student, and you know, my primary focus in my classes was trial advocacy, which is what I did, which is what the kind of law that I practiced, and but that's what I taught at the school. But I also taught a class on several occasions, including the last 3 fall semesters. I attempted to retire in the summer of 2014, and then in the fall of 15, 16, and 17, they asked me to come back and teach a class. I also taught the trial class, trial practice, trial advocacy class, but a class, are you ready for this? I'm not sure you're ready for it, but try to get ready for it. A class in legal ethics. Yes, there is such a thing. I know some folks think that's an oxymoron, but there is a class. As a matter of fact, every lawyer in every state must take an exam. It's called the MPRE, Multi-State Professional Responsibility Exam, and they have to pass that as well as their state bar, or they can't practice law. So there is a set of rules. Really, no kidding. There is a set of rules for lawyers, and they cannot practice law if they can't pass that exam. And I go back to teach that class. One of the things about that class is I have the total freedom to say anything I want. Just to say that the bar sets the rule right here, but I'm going to tell you that's not the way to practice law, and here's why that's not the way to practice law. I have the freedom that I would never have under some other circumstance to teach legal ethics to people who are going to practice law, and at the same time be a testimony I would not otherwise have an opportunity to be. So I thank the Lord for that. Incidentally, I still do teach. In a couple of days, we're going back. I teach 3 weekends in a row. A couple classes I teach that no one else teaches. And so for the next 3 weekends, we'll be in Florida, and I'll be teaching those classes, Lord willing, 3 weeks from tonight. That's what I think that's right. Will be the last class, and we'll be coming back to Dunlap, Tennessee, to hang out at Ewtonville Baptist Church for a while, and we're looking forward to that. I'll tell you that we have. There's something else that I feel compelled to share, and that is that there's been this journey, but I have to tell you, I see the end. I do. I mean, I see that the guys who spoke earlier today, and many of the ones at which I'm looking, you're probably thinking, you know what, I got these things in front of me, and we can do some things, and there's lots of things to accomplish. But I can tell you something: there's a limit to what's left for Lee Coppock to do. There is, and I am determined. I am determined to finish well. I want to finish well. Amen. I want to finish well. Now there's a Bible character that I think is just totally wonderful. When I was younger, I could probably picture myself being like, I don't know, Gideon, or maybe being like, I don't know, David, or being like Joshua. I don't know. I could see all that maybe when I was younger, but I don't see that now. I'm sorry, I just don't see that. But there is a guy. There is that I think I can work with. Shamgar. Shamgar. Now, Shamgar's name appears twice in the Bible, 2 times. The first time is in Judges 3, chapter 3, verse 31. And I'm going to have it behind me in a few moments, or I hope I am. The second time is in Judges 5, 6, where he's mentioned as one of the judges. Now, I want you to kind of get this in context. There were a series of judges, of course, and they had, one would be a judge, and things would go well, and then they would die or whatever, and the Israelites would get off on some other kind of a track, and they'd mess up, and the Lord would judge them, bring some people in to judge them, to cause them pain, and they'd turn back to the Lord, and there'd be another judge, and it would go on like this. Well, in the 3rd chapter, preceding this, there's a story about a judge named Ehud. Now, I can take the time to tell you the story of Ehud, but it's a totally interesting story. It's in Judges chapter 3, and you know what? I encourage you to read about Ehud. He was a good guy. Well, among the things that he did was, and it's like the 28th, 29th verse just prior to this time. It says that he led the Israelites, and they killed 10,000. Lusty men, the enemy, they killed 10,000 of them. Lusty men. In other words, these were the Green Berets. I mean, these were the cream of the crop of the enemy. And this Ehud led his men, and they killed 10,000, which is kind of a totally wonderful thing. And I can tell you, a few years ago, I probably figured I got that in front of me. I can be that kind of I can do that. Well, I want to tell you something. And so you look at this verse, please, and here's what it says. The only time this guy's verses, he's mentioned, Shamgar's mentioned, except again, he's mentioned with a list of other judges, and then with Shamgar, whatever, they say that too. But here's what he says. And after him, talking about Ehud, and after him was Shamgar, the son of Anath, which slew the Philistines, 600 men with an ox goad, and he also delivered Israel. Now, here's the thing that I see. There's a couple things I see about Shamgar. Number one is, that's it. The one that follows him is Deborah, and she led the Israelites to great victories on the battlefield. After him is Gideon, hello class, and Gideon, the big old boy, who got it done. But that's all you got on Shamgar. So here's what it is. Shamgar is he made the cut, but he was not the big one. He was not the one that got the glory. He did what he could. That's the first thing. And can I tell you something? The Lord expects nothing more of me or of you or of anyone in this building this evening, but to do what we can. That's all he expects. Do what we can. And so I've decided that, I'm not, the Gideon thing ain't out there for me, but I can do what I can do what I can. That's all he expects. He doesn't expect us to do something beyond what we're capable of doing, but he does expect us to do that. He does expect us to do what we can. And I'll tell you what else. He did what he could with what he had. You know what? I would tell you, I don't know if he had a sword. I don't know if he had a spear. I don't know if he had a shield. I don't know if he had a chariot. I don't know if he had a helmet. But I know he had an ox goad. He got done what he got done with what he had. And can I tell you something? There's some things the Lord just didn't give me. I expect to get to heaven sometime and have the Lord say to me, Lee, you know what? I'm sorry. I somehow made a mistake. I expected to give you the ability to sing, and somehow I missed that. I don't know why the Lord didn't allow me to do. I can't figure it out, but he didn't. There's some things he didn't give me in terms of resources or assets or opportunities. But can I tell you something? He doesn't expect me to use more than what I've got. Shamgar did what he could with what he had. With what he had. And he did it for the glory of the Lord. And can I tell you something? I just look at that. He also delivered Israel. He got the job done. He got it done. He finished the job. So I'm just going to tell you. I purpose in my heart that I'm going to do what I can with what I've been given for the glory of the Lord, and I'm going to finish the job. I'm going to finish the job. And I'm going to tell you something. I have to tell you, we got. I'm a little sensitive about the fact that it's about Baptist men, because bless your hearts, we've got some Baptist women who can do some totally wonderful things, including one sitting back there in my pew. And some Baptist teenagers. And some people who, Pistoluthians, whatever. I just have to tell you that I would think that there's no better way to say whatever's in front of me, I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to do it with what I'm given. I'm going to do it for the glory of the Lord, and I'm going to finish the job. And you know what? That's my challenge. You want a challenge from this hillbilly? That's the best I can do. And that is that we would say before the Lord, we're going to do what we can with what we've got for the glory of the Lord, and we're going to finish the job. We're going to finish well. You know what? Preacher, how about you come up here? We can have an invitation hymn, and if there's somebody who says, you know what, this is a good, I can hang out with Shamgar too. Me and Lee and Shamgar will hang out together. Or, there's some other reason, something else that someone else said that caused you to say, you know what, there's some things that I can work out with the Lord tonight. We encourage you to come. Lord bless you.
Let's all stand.